Here and welcome to another episode of The Creative Heart. My name is Gideon and I'm also known as Gideon's Light and I'm your creatively fit coach. So this is just a beautiful creative exercise day where I decided to show you guys how I created my own prompt system or prompt cards. In previous episodes, I played with these sort of in practice ones that I just tried out to see how it would work, but I decided after using those little prompt cards on my greeting cards for my exhibition that it was time for me to create a new little set of cards. So I want to show you how I do that and how I use these cards. So give me a minute, I'm going to turn the camera around and I'll show you exactly how. Good afternoon, everybody. It's so exciting to share with you guys a little bit. It is rather busy in my studio preparing for my art exhibition, and so you can imagine I'm trying to just sort out my life and be productive. So today I thought I would share with you guys about this little prompt box of mine because I had to use some of my hamsters for my greeting cards. I still have a lot of them, but I do realize that this is not the permanent situation and I do enjoy playing with my prompt cards. So I thought today I would show you guys how you can create your own. And at the same time, I am just so blessed and so grateful. One of my friends and one of my biggest patrons of my art blessed me with a gift box, and I wanted to share with you guys what is in this box. So I did have a peek, so I know what's in there, but you don't. So isn't this box just too beautiful? And I love getting little boxes because they are excellent storage. So in this little box, what he has blessed me with is this whole set of metallic color pens, and they are quite nice and I think ideal for what we want to play with. And I did do some marker testing here, and one of them is even a nice white marker, so that's always nice to have around. And they have a color with a bit of a metallic sheen to it, so that is excellent for what we want to do today. So I'm going to be playing with that. The next thing here in my little box is my oil pastels. Now, if you know me well, you know that I like to play with oil pastels in nearly everything because it gives me that pop of color. So this is going to go into my stash as I'm still using my open kit that looks like this, and that's not nearly done. So I know when I finish a color or something like that that I've got something extra. But this is so beautiful because you know how expensive art supplies is, and to get quality art supplies is really such a beautiful gift. So thank you, my friend. You are such a supporter of my art. I'm so grateful for you in my life, and I cannot wait to see you at the art exhibition to show you how I use all of the gifts that you've given me over the years as far as art supplies is concerned. So isn't it great to have friends that know that you just need art supplies to feel better or to go forward in life? I mean, really, if you have an artist friend, don't buy them soap or alcohol or whatever, buy them art supplies or give them a gift voucher to purchase art supplies because art supplies are so expensive. Anyway, I think he wanted to sort of encourage me to try a bit of oil color as well. Now, I must say my experience with oil color is very limited, but I am inspired as a what is the word, multimedia artist to always see how I can sort of add, new layers or another element or what is this called? Medium to my art. And I know that there are plenty of artists out there that work in acrylic and then finish their artwork with a layer of oil. So maybe I will try that, but I'm definitely going to have to dive deep and find out more about how to use the oil color in such a way. But you know what? That is a great way to get started into trying that. Now, what do I have here? I have a beautiful gold. That's going to be fun. And you know, an artist can never have enough gold. That's what I believe. Gold, silver, metallics is really one of my favorites. Then there's a beautiful Lucas Acryl Studio burnt umber. We always need a good dark brown. And this is a light yellow ochre. Yay! I can always do with a bit more of that in my life. Ooh, a light grey. That is also a very nice neutral color to have in your stash, because you use grey to tone your colors with. So if you want to just bring down the chroma, it's too bright and you want to just tone it down, but you don't necessarily want to make your color darker or lighter, then you add grey to it. So that's really an awesome addition to my kit. Titanium white, you know what? An artist can never have too much titanium white. This is an excellent gift. And then last but not least, my favorite color. If you know me well, you know that turquoise is at the top of my list. So I'm so excited to really play with these colors. I'm going to put them all back in my box. And that is so exciting, knowing that there is something in my little world that brightens my day and there's something more to create with. So I'm just going to put this aside. Oh, my studio is so full. If you saw my reels, then you know my entire space is covered in canvases. Okay, so what have I got here today? So I've got here a piece of watercolor paper. Let me just show you guys quickly. This is just an A3 acid-free 300 GSM natural white multimedia watercolor paper. And why I love watercolor paper is you can throw anything at it, including watercolor. So, you know, it really is a great, strong paper. I'm going to turn it like this. Because what we're going to do today, like I said, is we are going to replicate these little prompt cards. So basically what I want to do is I want to just divide this page into a grid system of about this size, so that we can divide it up and we can paint one side of it and we can use the other side as the prompt. So this gives me a basic idea of you know, how many cards I will be able to fit in, and then I'm going to just divide this with using my ruler and a pencil, and you know, just get a nice grid laid out here so that I know how many prompt cards I can make. So I wanted to just run through some of these prompts and make a note of them on the side. And then what I would like you to do, pardon for the very busy airlines these days, this helicopter seems to have moved into my area and is flying over a few times a day. There is a police station close to us, so please forgive. My windows are open. It feels like spring in my world. It is so lovely to just have this cold leave us, and I cannot wait to get into a warmer summer so that we can just breathe a bit, and it's just so much easier for me to be creative, you know, when it's not so cold. Right, so these are some of the cards I used already, and they are great prompts. So what I wanted to say is, if you have any prompt ideas that you would like to share with me, please drop it in a comment below this video, because I would love to know what you use as a prompt in your studio. So the first one here is contrasting color. Okay, so we've got that one. We've got go darker. We've got go lighter. Oh, forgive me if I make spelling mistakes. Okay, so we've got darker. I think I turned things around. Oh, there's go lighter. Okay, so what have we here? Line. Line is always a fun thing to add. Okay, and then we had our colors. Neutral. So a neutral would be like a gray or a brown. Yellow. Violet. Blue. Okay, so I've got all of these. I'm just marking the ones that I wrote down. We've got dots. All right, we've got dots. Geometric. Replace them with my new little cards that we have here. So, you know, this is something that you can always add to. You know, sometimes I see a video or I think of something and then that inspires me to add to this list. And, you know, I've seen a multitude of artists have their own kind of prompt system that they like to play with in especially abstract art. So, you know, it can be completely unique to you. So there's no right or wrong, right? It is something, it's merely a tool. So we're going to play with that and I'm going to show you how. So what I would like to do, that I found inspiration from another artist, is to not necessarily use the word, but to literally demonstrate on the prompt what the word is. So for example, if it's a color, then to actually paint the color on the prompt card. If it is an action, to try and actually do that little action on the card, so that when you pull it out of your little box, then you know that's already a visual cue as to what to do, but it's open-ended. It's not so locked in, because I think for people, we tend to be very left brain orientated, and I always encourage people in their creative practice to get out of the left brain and into the right brain, because it's in the right brain where inspiration flows, it's where new ideas are born and we try something new, and that's how we constantly feed our creative intelligence, by giving it very abstract kind of prompts and, you know, then see what inspiration comes forward. Whereas with words, we tend to want to then add a label, and it becomes a very sort of left brain analysis of what it means, and then we sort of tend to apply that in the same manner over and over. So I want to break out of that shell and say, okay, the left brain is really there to help execute the sort of prompts or inspiration from the right brain, which is a far more abstract kind of side of your brain that works with texture, color, smell, you know, all of those things, what we see, what we hear, what we feel, and that is the language of the soul. Whereas the left brain is all about facts, it's all about linear, it's all about the past, it is all about what we've already done before, what worked, what didn't work, and you know what, that can really entrap our creativity. So that is exactly what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to fast forward you guys through this whole process of lining out this watercolor paper, and then I'm going to try and figure out with each little card how I can represent these words in a more right brain kind of way. That is my challenge for today. So I'll see you guys right now. Right, so I've given the back of my cards 2 layers of my grey acrylic paint, because I wanted something neutral in the background, and now this has really strengthened this paper as well. I still have my markings for the front, and it will all begin to make sense to you now. At least I hope so. Anyways, so I thought of decorating the back in a way that sort of like with playing cards unites sort of the background as a similar design, so that you don't necessarily recognize the cards eventually from their design, because in my current little card system they're all unique and beautiful little hamsas, but you know, eventually you'll recognize that one as a resist kind of thing, and then you sort of resist using it or keep drawing it at the same time. So I want sort of more of a unified design for the background. So I've got a stencil here. Don't ask me who created this because it's not on the stencil, but I did get it from a local art supply store, so unfortunately I cannot give credit to whose stencil this is exactly. But I am going to use it with these metallic color pens. Now let's get to it. So let's see what we have here. We have a beautiful green kind of color, but you know what, I think I must just sort of draw it, because this looks more like a phthalo green with a silver. It's not really sage. And this one is more of an apple green. Ooh, that's pretty. Okay, so let's play with that one. And let's start there, I think. So I'm just, forgive me, I'm just going to go over my design here with this color, and maybe then see if I will fill them in a little bit more. So I think I'm going to fast forward so that you guys can flow through this process a little bit faster. So that's what I'm going to do now. Alrighty then, I have played with my metallic markers and I used my little stencil to create some organic shapes, and I quite like how the metallic markers is showing off against the matte grey background. Right, so I think that is a very nice background for our prompt cards that we are creating. Now I think it's time to cut these little squares out, and I've got so many prompts that I am gonna sort of keep them 1 square inch. I think that will be enough, but you can make your prompt cards as big as you wish. So, you know, like I always say, it's all experimental. So I've got my little craft cutter here, because I'm going to attempt to cut a straight line. It can be a bit challenging for me sometimes. So let's use our tools and just try to be as accurate as we possibly can be. And when we've cut them out, then we can use the front of the cards to create our prompts. So I'm looking at creating a Patreon account over on Patreon, because there are a number of you that have asked me if I have a Patreon page, and I must say I did look in it in the past, but I didn't feel ready to make that commitment. But seeing that a number of you have asked, I am wondering maybe if you guys will drop me a comment and tell me if you would be interested to follow me on Patreon, and then we can get into these kind of crafts and creative practice ideas a little bit more in depth and a little bit more hands-on than here on YouTube. You know, I absolutely love doing community work through my YouTube channel and offer quality and value added content. But you know, at some stage it would be nice to also earn a little bit of money to, you know, just enhance my income and also help me to, you know, buy art supplies. As you guys know, art supplies is not cheap, and especially quality art materials, and also to be reimbursed for, you know, my time and energy that I put into these videos. So that was sort of my whole idea this year with creating 52 weeks of free content for you guys, so that you can get to know me and I can get to know you, and we can see sort of where this is leading us and what is the path going forward. So I'm thinking to you know, really invest some time into creating something that is worth your time and money over in Patreon, and maybe starting that kind of channel in the new year. So I think I'm just starting the conversation and asking for your guys' input, and maybe one of the things you can tell me in a comment is, what would you like me to show you more of? Or what would you like to learn, or what would you like to see or experience along with me? Maybe you've watched one of my other videos and you wanted me to go into a little bit more detail and technique, you know, that would be a wonderful clue for me that I can take note of and see how I can maybe use that as a prompt for myself over on my Patreon channel. So I did create a profile, but you'll see that there's nothing available there yet, and I obviously want to, you know, do that with a proper launch and, you know, tell you guys that I'm starting and when I'm starting and how much it will cost and so forth. So again, really all about making it affordable and accessible, and continue to build my beautiful creative heart community. And yes, so do drop me a comment and tell me if you would be interested in becoming, you know, sort of a patron of my art and creativity practice. And that would be one way for me to expand what I have to offer. And yes, so let me know if you would be interested in that. So I'm going to continue to cut these little cards. You can begin to see, you know, how this background is now unifying it as a background, and then we have the actual prompt on the other side. So I quite like that. So I'm going to continue to cut out these little squares, and when we come back, we are going to see how we're going to add all of these prompts on these little cards in a way that will help us be more creative. So here we go. All right, now that I have cut all my strips into the size that I want, I have decided to go for 2 of these little blocks. So it's a little card that then also fits in nicely in the box, I think, you know, and it's big enough for me to handle and pick up. And I thought, you know, maybe it will be nice to use, you know, both the word and a sort of a little demo on one little card, because then you have the double way to sort of interpret it, because some of the prompts have or require a little bit more than one word or one idea. And yeah, so then this can be a double-sided prompt card. I quite like that. But you can see here that I all have the same background design, which is then nice as my background, or the back of the card, which is quite pretty. I must say I am quite impressed with these pens and their color and the ink. It is really keeping me smiling, and that is the brand's name. So maybe if you are looking for a metallic color pen, then you know this is really nice. However, I must just point out this is water-based ink, so it is non-toxic, and it is yeah, they've got all kinds of wonderful sort of things in here, and a variety of colors. So it's called Keep Smiling Metallic Color Pen. I haven't seen it in the stores. This was a gift from my friend, so I'm sure you can look on the internet for it and you will find them there. Okay, so we will definitely be playing a little bit more with these pens, and I quite love them. Let me just show you. This white one is quite opaque and very nice. So yeah, there you go. I don't know if you can see that. I really like that. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and begin to label all of my little prompt cards, and I'm going to try and write as tidy as I possibly humanly possible as I can. So I think if I just concentrate on being uniform, contrast, it's a beautiful word, and I can demonstrate that maybe through a opposite color on the color wheel. So you can have more than one. You can have a color choice and a color scheme sort of showed on a prompt card like this. For example, violet and, well, this is red, violet and yellow, green. So you can divide the other corner and paint one half with a red, violet and the other half with a yellow, green. So you know when you draw this card, you can create contrast or use contrast as a prompt, and then you already have two colors that you can start to play off. But you know, we can play with that. There is no right or wrong. And when you draw a prompt card and you feel it's not appropriate for the artwork that you're working on, it's gonna, you know, take you in a direction that you don't want to go, you can always put it back and pick another one, right? There's no right or wrong. So let's say go lighter. Go darker. You get the gist of it. So I'm going to be doing that quickly, and when I come back I'm going to show one or two of these cards for you in a little demo as far as the prompt is concerned. Right, so now I've written all of my prompts on my little cards, and I thought I would just show you guys what I mean with showing a little bit of a demo on the card of what the prompt could possibly mean, or you know, what color it is, what technique it is, and so forth. So you can be as descriptive and demonstrative as you want to be on your prompts. So this one is the color violet. So I thought of just doing a nice little color swatch on there. And just show the color violet or purple. And in that way you can really go into your stash, what you have, and use that so that you always know exactly which color you have in your own mind when you draw that particular prompt, or you can literally make a prompt with each of the colors that you have in stock, or that you tend to work with a lot, and that way you can literally pull that color out of your stock and work with it on your project. There we go. So almost like a little painting card or something like that. And I think to have a visual representation of the word or the idea can also speak to the right brain in a whole nother way that you might not have considered, because when you say green, it is your memory of green. It's like the brain can't remember, or the eye cannot remember an exact shade. When you look away and you look back and you are asked to recreate it, there will always be a little bit of a difference, unless you have a very trained mind and brain. So oopsie, to say green, you might think of another green. You might think of an apple green or a lime green or whatever, So whatever actual green that you've got there in your art supplies, that's the green you use. And if you've got 5 different greens, maybe do 5 different green cards, and or you can say any green, so then you pull all the greens that you have, and that also provides variety. So hopefully you guys get the gist of what you could do. This is just my way, and I mean, you can always recreate it, and as you work with it, you see what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and what you'd like to try different next time. So I think it is great to have a little prompt system that you can draw on and just get your creative practice going, so that you know exactly what sort of inspiration to go with for the day. I think it's a great time saver, and it's definitely a way to overcome sort of artistic or creative blocks. I really don't believe that we can ever be blocked. We only block ourselves. But if you have run out of ideas, or you've come on a certain point in your creation where you just don't know where to take it from there in order to resolve it or to develop it further, then a prompt system can definitely be very helpful. So I'm interested to see what you guys are going to do and how you are going to create your own prompt system. So if you're into that and you're busy with creating little prompt cards for yourself, do take a photograph and share it with me on the Creative Heart group on Facebook. That is where I support my friends and my tribe. And again, if you've been watching this far, remember to hit that subscribe button and the like button and the notification bell, so that you are all sort of reminded when I bring out a new video or when a new premiere happens. I do try to be present in all my premieres to chat with you. So if you're watching this premiere, why don't you drop me a comment and say hi. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in another episode of The Creative Heart next week, Monday. Thank you, and bye-bye for now.